The WagerTalk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes
You're coming tonight, Marco,
5
right?
NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now.
Let's invite people
the rest of October
to
for
say
free.
hi.
That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend. 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today. The Prez Teddy covers. Teddy 5-0 a weekend for you. Just a monster. Congratulations, man. It always feels good not losing a game for your clients. Big show, Marco. That's the show. Teddy lead story, Chargers. Jesus, man, what? There have been some epic football games already this year, but that one might take the cake.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was the lead story. Like, what's the biggest thing that happened in the NFL yesterday? And it's like the Chargers have now blown 16-point leads in each of their last 4 games. That's never happened in the history of the NFL. And the way that happened yesterday with the 21-0, they were blowing Denver out. If you look at my notes, I always take notes as I'm watching the games. My notes from the first half is, Broncos can't do anything. Oh my God, Denver's offense is terrible. Wow, this Chargers team might be bet on. And then there you are in the fourth quarter, their life and death. And it's coming down to a 4th down pass interference call. And then they have 1 second on the clock. And there's Drew Lock making the play. Tough beat if you had the Chargers. That was the worst beat of the day. No question about it, I don't think. We'll talk about that a little bit later at Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. But I got a Broncos season win over ticket. I got a Chargers season win under ticket. The final seconds of that game made me very, very happy.
Yeah, I mean, Teddy, look, the under in that game was a tough one too, bro. I mean, it was, I think, 21-3 midway through the third. I mean, that whole game was one for the ages. I want to welcome a bunch of guys in. Garrick said hello. What's up, T-Wade? Elliot, we got Kelly this week. Nate, Taiku, Rara. Nice name, Rara. And, of course, Marco D'Angelo, my brother, the co-founder of WagerTalk.com, and a man who did something last night that made me very, very jealous.
And what was that, Prez?
You played poker.
I live in Vegas, man.
Poker. I can play poker by myself on a computer. God, I want to play poker so bad. I'm dying over here. Dude, you won money. You also had a nice Saturday. Congratulations. Marco, let's get straight to it. Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, playing the Giants. Giants are still live to win the East. Who do you like in this game?
Everybody's live to win the NFC least. But tonight's game, guys, when you jump on board and look at this game at first glance, it might be enticing to look at the home dog. Monday Night Football, back in the day, whenever I was a young pup in this business, home dogs on Monday Night Football was an automatic play. That's not been the case over recent years. But you look.
Wait, Marco. They had Mondays when you were a pup?
Monday Night Football's been around for a while, Prez.
I'm just amazed they had.
Marco, I don't want to cut you off, but
Teddy.
Had to be 10 years ago, maybe more. Went back and did a study by decade about Monday Night Football home dogs. And again, we're using point spread info from the 70s and from the 80s, which is a little dicey. But basically, before 1990, Monday Night Football home dogs were 70%.
Yep.
Wow.
Long term. In the 90s, they were 60%. In the 2000s, they were 50%. And since 2010, they've been below 50%. So the trend line's been real specific. Monday Night home dogs used to be really good. And this century, they have not. They've been money losers.
Absolutely.
So Yeah. So I don't mean to
But
cut you
when
off.
you look at this one, the initial reaction for the public, they might be enticed by it because even though the Giants are 1-6 straight up, they're 4-3 against the spread. And in those 6 losses, guys, they've only had one loss that's been by more than 10 points. So there's going to be some people that will try the home dog. The Giants offense, though, they've only topped 21 points once this season. And who was that against? Oh, well, yeah, one of the most pitiful defenses in all of football, the Dallas Cowboys. Tampa Bay's defense, they're number 8 in the league in points per game. They're number 2 in the league at yards per play, allowing just 5.0 yards per play. And if we dig a little bit deeper, we'll find out that the Giants, 0-7 is a home underdog the last 2 seasons, going back to the start of last season. They're 2-11 against the spread in home games against NFC opponents over the last 3 years. So with me rattling all those numbers off, this looks like a slam dunk to take Tampa tonight, doesn't it? I mean, after all, we got Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, they're rolling. They've scored 38 or more points in 3 of their last 4 games. Everything's right in Tampa Bay. Well, as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friends. Take a look at what Tampa has on the horizon. Next week, they've got their biggest game of the season, and it comes on a short week. If I'm Tampa this week, what do I gain by emptying the playbook and running up the score? Next week is the game that means everything. They play the Saints, and although the 2 teams have the same record, it's an important game because if Tampa loses, instead of being 1 game back in the standings, they're really 2 games back because they will have lost both meetings. Remember, they played the first week of the season, and that was before Tom Brady and company, everybody was on the same page. So this is a huge game next week for Tampa. I don't want to lay the points with Tampa Bay, but I'm not going to take the Giants either. So what's that leave us for Monday Night Football? Well, it leaves me on the total, and I'm going to look to the under. Based on the things that I've said, the Giants just don't score points. And this Tampa Bay defense is solid. What's going to happen? I think Tampa gets a big lead. I think Tampa then goes in, hey, let's get this game over with. Let's run the football, shorten the game, get in, get out, and head on to next week against the Saints. And if I'm calling the plays and I'm Bruce Arians, I'm not using any of my great plays in the playbook this week. We're saving them till next week. We don't want to put anything good on film for the Saints to prepare for. I'm going to take the under in tonight's game, and we're looking at a total of 45.5. I think it inches its way up. We might get to 46 by game time. The public's going to come in. The public's going to look at this game. They're going to see Tom Brady. They're going to see those, how many points they've scored in the last 4 weeks. They're not betting the under. So if you want to wait to game time, I think that's where you get the best number on betting the under in this game. And that's where I'm at for the Monday Night Football play.
Marco, listening to your analysis, which I agree with completely. First quarter, Tampa Bay -3. First half, Tampa Bay -7. What are your thoughts on that? Based on everything I'm hearing, it sounds like that's worth the sprinkle.
Well, it is, and you would think, in theory, if the Giants have any shot, they might come out with some, excitement and think, hey, it's Monday Night Football. We got a chance in this game. And if you remember, go back to the first week of the season. Now, it's a totally different situation when they played the Steelers because it was Big Ben's first game after missing an entire season. But the Giants did hang around with the Steelers at the beginning of that game. There was a turnover late in the first half that changed the complexion of that game before Pittsburgh went on and got the win. So if the Giants are going to have any chance, you think it might be early, but I just don't trust this team, and I don't like Daniel Jones. I don't think he's the answer in New York.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants turning the ball over and Daniel Jones turning the ball over is not a new story for what they've been doing. Now, it is worth noting the weather at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey for this evening. Temperatures expected to be in the 30s by kickoff. There's a pretty steady wind during the day, but the reports I've seen say it's likely to calm down by this evening. It'll be single-digit wind numbers this evening. But given the cold conditions, and we always think about Brady as a cold weather quarterback. Part of that comes from living in cold weather, and every day you go out to the car and it's cold, and you walk out to the parking lot and it's cold, and you get used to it. Now Brady's living in Tampa. Do you think the Bucs will be negatively affected by the weather this evening? And is that perhaps a reason that you can make a case for the New York Football Giants if you were inclined to do so?
Well, I can't speak for Tom Brady, Teddy, but I can speak for me. And it's a perfect example of difference of weather. Whenever you come from a cold weather city, when I first moved to Vegas, whenever it got to 50 out here and you look at the natives, they are bundled up like, they're heading to the North Pole. The first year that I was out here, it didn't bother me because your blood is still accustomed to where you lived, most of your life, which is the case for Tom Brady. I don't think he'll be that affected. Now, moving forward after a couple of years, if he stays in Tampa in the nice weather, yeah, but I think for this first one, he'll be okay. And if you lived in New England all that time, you laugh at 30 degrees. Come on. You in New England, you get it cold, you get it wet, you get snow. This is nothing. Come on. Teddy, it's not that long since you've been out of the cold. You remember those days.
And
yes, I remember those days. And I remember that the first time I went back to Michigan it wasn't even winter, it was Thanksgiving. After living in Vegas, I couldn't handle it anymore. So that was just me, and it's like, and I remember when it was 20 below, you're like, yeah, whatever, it's 20 below. Not once you get out. So that definitely concerns me about Brady and the Bucs this evening. And there's been nothing but Tampa money. I mean, the money is coming all week on Tampa Bay. This opened as low as 8 at some spots, and really we were looking at 9.5s, 10s. Now I'm seeing 13s, not across the board, but if you wanted to bet the Bucs, to do it now at the worst of the number, to me, you can't do that and expect to win long term in the NFL. You just can't.
Great stuff, boys. Teddy covers Marco D'Angelo. Marco, we absolutely love having you. Backdrop too, by the way. Get out of here. What do you got to promote? Anything? Bet on it. You're doing the show today, right?
Doing the show today. I've got it's $9 Monday at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. I have a play up for next Sunday. It is my NFL upset shocker. We got it yesterday with our upset shocker. Was the Miami Dolphins. I got another one. Get it now, $9. It'll be $25 after midnight.
Actually, that's not technically true. It'll be $9 the entire week. We never raise it again. It remains $9.
No.
Isn't that
where you been?
I don't know what site you're going from. Yeah, that's why it's $9 Monday. You come and buy the play on Monday for $9. It's not normally priced.
No. I don't need to go to
He's an owner? This guy's actually an owner of this company? Yeah. Get us to commercial
we'll be right
fast.
Back. Thanks, Marco.
Every Monday is $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Get any best bet or daily package for only $9.
It's time for Bad Beats, Bad Bets, and Bad for the Books. This is always fun to do on a Monday. You have a ton of action over the weekend. Let's start with what we saw in college football on Saturday. And I just use the ones that stand out to me in college. If you had Kansas plus 28 against Iowa State, my apologies, my condolences. Iowa State gets the ball back. You're like, oh, they're going to run it up the middle and run out the clock. No, they're taking shots down the field to cover the number. Brutal. Kansas plus 28. What about Notre Dame minus 20.5 against Georgia Tech? That was a tough beat. Of course, the Irish kneeling inside the 5 at the end. They gave up a touchdown on a fumble return, a 93-yard swing that was a 14-point swing. Brutal beat for Irish backers. And, of course, there was one that I was tweeting about. That was Virginia Tech and Louisville first half under 34. And, again, with first half bets, you're going to have more bad beats. Anytime you shorten the amount of time, it means it's more likely to be right around the number. So, Virginia Tech, Louisville, the total for the first half is sitting at 34. There's 10 seconds left, and they have 28 on the scoreboard, and they're at their own 10-yard line. Handoff up the middle, just trying to run out the clock. Oops, he breaks 3, and he's down the sidelines, and he's going to get in for the touchdown. First half under, crashes, zeros on the scoreboard. They get to 35. Those are really tough beats. You had all kinds of weirdness and backdoors. Purdue against Illinois. Illinois comes through the back door in that one. A&M against Arkansas. At Arkansas in that game was not a right side. They came in through the back door, though. Penn State, plus 11, plus 12, plus 12.5. Not 1, 2 missed 2-point conversions. The Buckeyes win by 13. Those all memorable results from Saturday's betting action. Then we get into the NFL yesterday, and this was bad beat central. I mean, the Chargers -3. They became the first team in NFL history to lose games with a 16-point lead in 4 straight games. And to lose it the way they did, pass interference call and then the touchdown, and you're covering right until the last play. That's tough. Prez, I'm sure you're going to whine about this one. Would you have the under in Seattle, San Fran, or New Orleans, Chicago? I think New Orleans, Chicago might have been the worst under of the two. But either one, you had the under. You're dead nuts under till the fourth quarter. Boom, 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 boom. Both games fly over late. And then the other end of the spectrum, here's a bad beat. You had over in Miami and the Rams. They had 38 at halftime. Couldn't get to 46.5. The under cashes. Tough beat for Dolphins, Rams, over bettors. Bad bets. Let's see. The Bills took money. New England hung tough. They probably should have won the game. They can't fumble it away. Nonetheless, Bills not a right side. The Titans got bet up to -7. They got blown out in that game. That was a bad bet. And the wise guys, remember how the wise guys used to bet the Browns every week when the Browns went 0-16 and then 1-15? Wise guys are starting to bet the Jets every week now. Jets took money. The -21 got bet down to 19.5. That wasn't a right side. Bad bets for the Jets. Bad for the books. Look, it was a good day for the house yesterday. No question about it. Lots of underdogs cashed. Lots of the public did not fare well. The parlays didn't cash, et cetera, et cetera. Nonetheless, the books still had some rough results. Cleveland and the Raiders, Browns and the Raiders, that under 55.5 down to 47.5 based on the wind. That cashed with room to spare. The Colts took heavy money. They were bet up to 3.5. They blew out the Lions. And, of course, the Packers-Vikings total lands in the middle. That was another win game. There were a bunch of win games yesterday, or games that bettors expected a lot of wind. The 55 at the open bet down to 48. Landed 50. That was not a great result for the books, though overall, you're not going to hear a bookmaker sounding bummed out on Monday. The books fairly well over the course of the weekend. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Back to you, Lawrence.
Joe, we got to cut that segment right out of the show. It's terrible, man. I mean, who wants to look at freaking Teddy? It's the total opposite. We need to cut that segment and put it as its own piece. Teddy, you do that so well. Do you practice that?
I've been doing it a long time. I mean, I've done that particular segment on shows with Dave Malinsky, with Paul Howard, with Tim Trude. I mean, I've been doing those shows, that bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books for a while. And all week, I mean, as I'm watching things, I'm jotting this down, jotting that down. I appreciate the kudos, Prez, but just a little bit of a recap. People like to hear that. People are interested.
So when you brought up Notre Dame, you did that just to stick a needle in me because you knew I was on Notre Dame?
No, that was a really tough beat on the Irish. The Irish were clearly the right side in that game, start to finish. But when you have the 14-point swings, man, when you're going in for the touchdown and you fumble and it goes back the other way for the touchdown, those are tough to overcome. And when you overcome it and then take a knee, they were inside the 5 when they took a knee at the end.
They were tough, inside the 2.
Yeah, that's inside the 5.
Yeah, it's also inside the 20 and 30 and 50. And okay. Teddy, I want to clarify my $9 Monday disaster. Firstly, it's not $9 Mondays at Wager Talking Sports Memo. Any handicapper you guys want, $9. And what I was thinking about was last week I had a 5% play up for Monday, and I put it up on the Tuesday beforehand. So it sits at $9 because it's being sold on the Monday. even though it's up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Are you following me?
Yes, when you put up a play for Monday, a Monday games
Right.
cost $9 at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. It's a bargain. It's a deal. It's something we use to get new clients in. And if you're interested, just about everyone puts up a play on Monday to make sure they get to take advantage of that. I got a play up in the MAC. You got to play up as well. I mean, that's what we do. The clients like it, and it gives us a little, it forces us to get something up early. I think it's a good idea. And obviously, you've got a $9 Monday up play right now. Don't you, Prez?
Tonight's game. Let's welcome the people in. Scott Brown, Adam Lassman, Bill Flaminack. I haven't seen your name before. Thank you, 17 Clipper. Nice to see you. C. Harris, 422 of you guys watching, only 63 likes. The real DJX, happy birthday, my friend. I wish you many more, and I hope this is the best year of your life until next year. Teddy, it's you and I, baby. We're going to take apart what did we learn week 8 in the NFL. You ready to go?
I'm ready when you are, brother. Start firing away.
Let's start right off the bat with the Miami Dolphins. Now, listen, I can't add to this. I have not seen the game, but I will watch it later tonight, as I watch every game. So I'm just going to hand it over to you. Outstanding win, nevertheless. Right in the thick of things. That defense is for real. Are they a buy or sell right now?
Big buy sign on the Dolphins. Marco talked about cashing with Miami yesterday. I cashed with Miami yesterday. I cashed with Miami against San Francisco. I think the Dolphins are a playoff team with Tua. And what the betting marketplace is going to do, you can count on it. They're going to look at the box score from yesterday and say, oh, my God, the Dolphins were lucky. And they were. Every time you have basically 3 of their 4 touchdowns came off of special teams or defensive mistakes from the other side. But that's what good teams do. Dolphins defense is making plays right now. And Tua, again, they're going to look at the box score and say, Tua didn't do anything. Tua's no good. We don't know that. Tua wasn't good yesterday. No, he didn't have to be good yesterday. I got a buy sign on the Dolphins. I'm absolutely a Miami Dolphins believer. They've been good for me in my bankroll all year. And I expect that will not be the last bet that I make on the Dolphins in the days and weeks to come.
Teddy, again, I missed the game, but going in, I'm high on the Rams. I didn't bet the play yesterday at all, but I was very surprised by the score. I think that Rams D is really good. I thought Donald would go nuts. Where are we at with this team, man? Yeah, no, he did.
Well, Donald went nuts. Donald had an incredible, the first sequence of the game that led to the Rams' first touchdown was Donald blowing up the line of scrimmage and eating Tua for breakfast. The Rams are going to go as far as Jared Goff can take them. Jared Goff was you got the bad Goff yesterday. He was awful in that game.
And that's the problem, right? That's the problem right now with the Rams is I feel like, on their best day, they could beat any team in football, but they just can't lay down consistency for us.
This is the handicap. That's what we like. All right. We want teams that aren't consistent every week because we can bet on the Rams against weaker defenses. And when Goff steps up against a good defense, we know we're not going to lay any price with the Rams. We're going to look to fade them. So those teams that the general public, people say, oh, they're so inconsistent. If you can find a rationale, a method behind that inconsistency, you're going to make money with that team all year long. And the Rams, Goff can't play against good defenses. He can play against bad defenses.
Great stuff, Teddy covers. Guys, 7 more likes to 100. Teddy, the Steelers, man. I bet the Steelers yesterday. I released them to my clients. I had a losing day yesterday. I went 2-4. I was on the Bills was one of my losses. Under 19 team total for the Chicago Bears. That was a loss. And then I was completely off on Detroit. But anyway, Steelers, wow. Let's talk about them. This team just found a way to win. Their offense just could not get going. And then all of a sudden, couple of turnovers, changed the game around. Great win by them. Are they, given how big their spread is going to be, their line, Are they a buy or a sell team right now?
Sell. You're not gonna buy a team that's 7-0 coming off 2 huge wins and everyone's talking about how great they are. That's not your buy time for Pittsburgh. Your buy time for Pittsburgh is come and gone. Now's your sell time for the Steelers. They're coming off those 2 huge wins. While I have no shortage of respect for the Steelers, they're not the best team in the NFL. And we've seen, I still have my concerns about Pittsburgh on the offensive side. The defense is there. The defense has been there all year and it's going to be there. And that's why Pittsburgh is going to, they're a top 5 team. But they're a top 5 team that's been winning and covering and winning and covering and winning and covering and winning and covering. And those teams tend to get overvalued a little bit quickly. So I don't know if Pittsburgh's a straight sell, but they're certainly not a buy right now. You could have Pittsburgh the last 2 weeks.
I agree.
With buy sign.
Yeah, no, anybody. We've missed the boat on Pittsburgh, although at least I got some money from them yesterday. Let's go to the Ravens, man. To everybody who would listen, this is the most overrated team in football. Lamar Jackson is the most overrated quarterback in football. I'm not a believer in this team. That doesn't mean they're not going to make the playoffs. I just don't think they're the second or first best team in football. I'm a sell for the Ravens. I just don't feel like this team can put up enough points to cover the big lines that the public keeps making the bookmakers put out. What do you think about the Ravens?
All right, I'm not even going to get into the public making the bookmakers. The public doesn't make the bookmakers do anything. The bookmakers put out lines to beat wise guys, and every line is set to beat wise guys. The public has no influence whatsoever on these numbers. That said, that's just my basic point.
Thanks for not getting
talk about how spreads are made, and we can argue. We always argue about this. We're not going to do that right now. Let's talk about the Ravens in particular and Lamar Jackson as QB. And let's start with this. Baltimore is playing without a pair of Pro Bowl caliber tackles right now. And the quarterback stinks. The offensive line is struggling. Baltimore was right there to win that game. And on the final pass, Lamar Jackson made the wrong read. He threw to the wrong guy. That happens. Lamar Jackson's not perfect. Tom Brady's not perfect. But I don't look at Lamar Jackson's mistakes yesterday. And he was, they were minus, they turned the ball over 4 times in that contest. And Jackson, after the game, took responsibility for all that. I wouldn't sell this Ravens team short necessarily. That said, their offensive line is an injury mess right now. And until that gets healthy, and I'm not sure it will, I haven't seen the updates this morning. But if the both tackle injuries are long-term, it may well be sell time for the Baltimore Ravens. Unfortunately, the markets are right there with you. You're not seeing the same prices on Baltimore as you were. And we saw a ton of money coming against the Ravens, against Pittsburgh yesterday. And again, they're 1 pass away from winning the game, even if they weren't going to cover the numbers. So I'm not looking at Baltimore as a hardcore sell. Like, this team's way overvalued. And I still have the Ravens, I believe, ranked number 2 in my NFL power ratings.
Where do you have Tennessee ranked, Teddy? They were a missed field goal away from tying it up with Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, and then they laid a egg yesterday in Cincinnati. I think that suggests a buy sign for Tennessee, especially going into Week 9. What do you think?
I'm with you, and Tennessee wasn't that bad yesterday. It was like, oh my God, they were awful. The Bengals killed them. They had a missed. They had a turnover in the end zone, and then they were stopped. They had a missed field goal, and that was the end result in the game. They moved the ball. They matriculated the ball up and down the field, just like they've been doing the entire season. Henry was a beast, but they were playing from behind because of those 2 early miscues. Their defense didn't play well, and the pass rush, to me, is the biggest concern right now for the Titans. There was no pass rush yesterday at all, and that's something they're going to have to fix in a hurry if they're going to be legit contenders. But for this week, I'm with you on Tennessee. I think it's a good spot potentially for the Titans to bounce back strong.
Yeah, that is for sure. The Colts, really good, or they played Detroit?
Yeah, I'm in the middle on Indy.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely in the middle. And the Phillip Rivers was good yesterday. Let's give him credit for that. When Rivers is on, the Colts are pretty darn good team. And this is a defense that continues to blow things up at the line of scrimmage to make plays on a week in, week out basis. Indy is in the position they are right now because of their defense more than their offense. And that's a defense that has answered every call and made plays just about every week. And when you have the team that's getting things, at this stage of the season, when I'm adjusting my power ratings, it's rarely based on offense. It's, can this team get stops? Can this team get off the field on third down? And Indy can't. They showed it again yesterday.
You know who got stops yesterday?
Who did?
Seattle.
Yes.
Is that defense starting to turn, or is just San Fran a complete injured, riddled mess?
A little bit from column A, a little bit from column B. I do that, and you read the quotes, Pete Carroll's quotes, and I'll talk about this more when I do the opening line report with Drew Martin about 10 minutes after this show ends. We usually start about 1:05 Eastern time, 10:05 here on the left coast. We go through every game on the board in the NFL. But now, which game is this?
Seattle.
Thank you. So much when you read Pete Carroll's quotes after the game, he's like, our defense is getting better, slow and steady. It's not perfect. Where the improvements will be there. They just picked up Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals for nothing. He's going to play next week.
Yeah.
Didn't play this week. A little bit better. We saw for most of the game, the Seahawks get pressure at the line of scrimmage, and their secondary didn't get burned the way that it had been getting burned. So we are seeing signs of improvement for Seattle defensively. And Russell Wilson's playing at a level that the only other quarterback you can compare him to right now is Mahomes.
Or the other way around. Packers.
No.
What the hell is going on with the Packers? What's going on with the Packers, man? I mean, Jesus, at home, that was just an abysmal effort.
So when Green Bay loses, they get smacked. All right. And I disagree entirely that it was an abysmal effort. The wind was blowing. There was twice in the second half in a touchdown game where the Packers were forced to go for it on 4th and long instead of attempting the long field goal, because the long field goal wasn't going to be any good. And they were unable to convert on either of the 4th downs, and that changed the entire complexion of the game. Green Bay's offense wasn't stopped yesterday. Aaron Rodgers is just fine. Defensively, they had problems at both meetings against the Vikings. But the bigger concern is it's a Packers team that got, remember the playoffs last year, San Fran just ran it down their throat.
Yeah.
And basically Minnesota did the exact same thing yesterday, and the Packers said, we still can't stop this. Oh, and they play San Fran on Thursday night this week. So the Packers' run defense is a major concern moving forward. That's a question they're going to have to answer.
Teddy, tell me what's wrong with this statement. Green Bay's offense just can't be stopped. The game came down to 2 4th downs, but Green Bay's offense didn't convert.
I don't know. What's wrong with that sentence?
It's a paradox. You literally just told us that they can't be stopped, yet they were stopped.
And then they got stopped, yes.
Twice.
Okay, yes. My terminology was wrong. The Packers, it's not easy to stop the Packers offense.
And I got Joe laughing in my ear like I'm some idiot. Get out of here, Joe. Joe, why don't you put your mic on and let everybody hear you laugh? Nope. But guys, speaking of Joe Ranieri, you guys got to watch him and Teddy, him and Dave Koken. His shows are amazing. Teddy, let's take a break. We'll be right back with your big game breakdown and, of course, the pen, Ralph Michaels.
No baseball, basketball, or hockey to get you through until the football weekend? Don't worry, we have you covered over at WagerTalk and SportsMo with our soccer handicappers. Get the rest of 2020 from your favorite soccer expert with an all-access soccer package for just $249. This is normally priced at $399, but right now it's discounted $150 off. and it includes any 5% plays normally priced at $40. Just head over to WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com to take advantage of this deal to lock in one of your soccer experts through the end of the year.
It's time for Big Game Breakdown here on WagerTalk Today, your sports central for gamblers. And look, we've got Maction starting this week, and you better believe we're going to talk about Maction on Big Game Breakdown. I like the MAC conference in college football, and you get these weeknight games, especially at a time of year there's not a lot going on the weeknights, and I'm going to break down as many of these as I can in the days and weeks to come. So, football Wednesday night. I'm talking about it Monday. Yeah, what am I going to do? That's what we got to talk about. Big Game Breakdown. Let's talk the biggest point spread on the board, Bowling Green and Toledo. I put this up last night, and Toledo was 19 and a half. I wake up this morning, they're 22. The number's not going to go any lower. I'll tell you that. When you look at the Bowling Green side, there are as many red flags as you can get. Toledo's in revenge, all right? And it's not just one of these revenge. These are two teams. These are rivalry. It's a rivalry game, all right? But it's not just revenge for a loss. Toledo was 4-1 last year when they played Bowling Green. And then their quarterback, Gadani, got hurt in the third quarter, got sacked and hurt in the third quarter. They didn't score a point the rest of the game. And then they got clobbered basically for the rest of the season. They had the one loss lead to another one, lead to another one, lead to another one. You know, the next week they were down 38-0 at halftime type of deal. So they lost to their rival. The rival hurt their quarterback. They fell apart in the second half, and it ruined their season. And they're playing them week one. Toledo absolutely is looking forward to this game. And you see some of the quotes out of the Toledo Blade, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Toledo's loaded, all right? They're favorites, or one of the favorites to win the conference this season. That offense is an up and down the field type of offense. Defensively, there are issues, which always concerns us in this point spread range. But when we look at the BG side of the equation, okay, Scott Loeffler we like. You know, it's the guy that's been around the block. And his quarterback was actually with him at Boston College like 4 years ago. And then through the transfer circuit is ending up now at BG for his senior season. But when you read the quotes from Loeffler, this is a Bowling Green team that was bottom feeder last year. The cupboard was not bare. Was not full at the end of the Mike Jinks era. Loeffler's quote, "We've got some work to do. We've got a culture change that's going to take place. The culture change and flipping the roster is going to take a little time. But the thing I'm 100% committed to is doing it the right way. If it takes a little more time and a little more pain in the process, then the big picture will all work out better for Bowling Green if we do it the right way. We're not going to quick fix it and bring in a bunch of non-character guys that can play. I'm not interested in winning fast and leaving. I want to build this place. I'm like I was at Michigan when I got hired to work for Lloyd Carr. I wanted to build that thing the best way I could at the quarterback position, take my time with it, do it the right way. At the end of the day, I want BG to have longevity, not just a quick fix and I'm out of here." That's a coach that's saying we don't have a whole lot. It's going to be a process, and I'm not going to rush the process. You can understand why the money's coming for Toledo. No surprise here if it continues to come. And from a total standpoint, again, I like the QB for BG. I don't know like anything else on BG, but I don't trust Toledo's defense. And I'm confident the Rockets are going to get in the 40s or higher in this one. Maybe lean to the over on Wednesday night action. Back to you, Prez.
Great stuff, Teddy. Look, I want to give out a couple of free bets in the NFL game tonight. These are bets I'm making regularly. Yesterday, I bet Kansas City to win every quarter at plus money. And then I cashed that bet, but you can end up hedging it in game if they win the first three quarters. Tonight, Tampa Bay to win every quarter plus 550. I am betting that. You don't have to bet it, Teddy. Why are you Why are you laughing at this? I literally bet this yesterday and cashed it.
I'm not laughing. That's Joe laughing in your ear. I just shook my head because it's not something that I would bet. They're plus 550 for.
Don't.
Good luck with that.
Then the other bet I'm
all
making
mad.
tonight. The other bet I'm making tonight is Tampa Bay to score the first touchdown plus 130. You got a problem with that too?
I got a problem with your face. Buddy. And, I would look the plus 550 on the Tampa to score to win every quarter. Those are hard bets to cash. That's plus 550 for a reason. I wish you luck with that wager. If you're making that bet, you have to be laying with Tampa Bay.
Well, that's the bet I'm making. Let's bring in Ralph and get this show on the road. Oh, he's like standing there holding with the pen. Ralph Michaels, how are you, my friend? Missed you this weekend.
Doing great. Teddy, you broke down a MAC game, and in a matter of maybe 6 minutes, I'm going to try to break down a MAC conference. There's a lot of times people have reached out and say, how do you make your power ratings and how do you start at the beginning of the year? I'm going to go through in a very quick fashion and show people what I do to start the base of my power ratings and then tweak from there. So that's going to be in 1 second. Let's start with the angle of the day. I mentioned this one last week, but now we're game day, so I just want to mention it again. When the New York Giants are a dog, the road team is 25-3 against the spread. That's 89%. I mean, just an amazing number. They are 14-2 ATS as an away dog. They are 1-11 ATS their last 12 as a home dog. And again, I want to preface this like I do on all of these. Guys, I could find angles on Tampa Bay. I can find angles on the Giants. When I give you these angles, it doesn't mean I'm telling you, okay, the Giants are a dog, so bet the road team. But it's just something that you want to put into your handicapping technique and put a little home check mark that, oh, are you aware the Giants are 1-11 as a home dog? And one for early action tomorrow, Akron has lost 17 straight MAC games, 17 straight games in a row. They are 3-14 ATS in that span. And as a home dog, the Akron Zips are 3-21-1. So they play Western Michigan tomorrow. Just some ugly numbers. They are in the second year of a head coach. We'll talk about them in just 1 minute. So a couple angles. Here's the situational play of the day. I was on Twitter this morning, and all of a sudden I start seeing, double-digit Monday night home dogs are a 70% play. And I said, what the? So this isn't posted up there, so I just looked. There's only been 14 Monday night double-digit home dogs since 1989, 33 years. Those double-digit Monday night home dogs, 7-7 against the spread. So let's throw that out. I want to take 1 second here, and when you are looking for an angle, you can find an angle that fits your situation, but make sure it's the right angle. And here's what I mean. When I looked at away favorites of 5.5 or more on Monday night since 1997, they were 26-17, 60.5%, including 7-1 ATS the last 3 years. Prez, you'd agree, Monday night away favorite, 61%, a great play. Teddy, you'd agree as well. But I wanted to dig a little deeper. Tampa Bay is off back-to-back road games. Tampa Bay is off a win. So when I took those Monday night away favorites of -5.5 or more and then broke them off a straight-up loss, which makes them more motivated, or a double-digit away favorite or a big away favorite off a straight-up win, look at the difference in the numbers. Teams are 10-3 ATS, 70% off a straight-up loss, only 14-13 ATS off a straight-up win. So that's what I mean. You can data mine what you want. I could have said, I want to play Tampa Bay, 60.5% ATS, including 7-1 the last 3 years. But when you break it down a little bit more, teams off a straight-up win as an away favorite like Tampa Bay, only 14-13 against the spread. And Monday night away favorites in a second of back-to-back, only 8-7 ATS. So nothing wow, but just do realize anytime you see a record, you can always find positive records on both teams, and make sure the number you find is exactly the situation you want, just not some generic number that's a much higher ATS percentage.
Yeah, that's a great point to make, Ralph. Really is. Before you get into the MAC, let's talk about tonight. You going down to Circa tonight?
Oh, everyone's going down.
Exactly. So if you're in Las Vegas and you're going to be in town, the boys and girls will be at Circa Sportsbook this evening. Come by and say hi. We'd love to, if you watch the show, if you're in town, if you don't watch the show, come by and say hi. We will be watching Monday Night Football at the brand new Sportsbook at the Circa this evening. Many of your favorite Vegas Wager Talk personalities will be there.
Brian will be down there. Marco will be down there. Sig's coming in for Pittsburgh tonight. If you like horse racing, Sig will be there. Hakeem's coming. Drew Martin's coming. Kelly, of course, will be there. Tony Finn. A great lineup. So do stop down. We'll be in the sportsbook. We'll have a couple tables in the sportsbook there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we got a couple minutes left, Ralph. Prez, of course, won't be there because he's in Toronto. Couple minutes left. Joe's got a chart from us. And this is the chart that I put up we posted it in the Wager Talk Spring Guide. It went through recruiting. It went through conference yards per game. It went through Connolly's experience. It went through how many returning starters you had, the head coaches, how long they've been there, and the spring practices. And folks, it's this simple. Joe, if you could show us the second chart. What I do is this. I look at recruiting for 2 years, I add them together, and I rank them from 1 through 12. Who had the best recruiting class the last 2 years? Who had the worst? The best recruiting class, clearly, Toledo Rockets. And the worst recruiting class over the last 2 years, Ball State. So Toledo gets a 1, all the way down through Ball State gets a 12. Then I look at conference yards per game last year. I don't worry about the record. I don't worry about points per game. Those can be very misleading. But when you're looking at a conference like the MAC that can play very varied non-conference schedules, throw the full season stats out. Look at conference-only stats. When I break down the conference-only stats, we find out that last year Central Michigan was the number 1 team. The number 12 team was Akron. I then look at experience. I listed the Connolly experience. Akron comes back as the number 1 most experienced, down to Eastern Michigan. Then I look at returning starters. And you would think returning starters and experience are the same, but they're not. Let me give you one example. If you have 2 returning starting wide receivers and nobody else on your team, and you had 8 other guys that had a lot of carries, your experience isn't going to be that high. But let's say you only have 1 returning starter at wide receiver. He's your number 1 guy. And then your next 7 receivers all come back and they all had 20 or more catches. You are going to have more experience with 1 returning starter than the 2. So that's just a quick difference between experience and the number of returning starters. The asterisks are, that means you have a quarterback back. And one thing I think is very, people don't put enough time into, are last year's starts. They are listed in the guide. And you look at Buffalo. Buffalo is listed in green and 33. That means Buffalo was very healthy last year. It means you start 22 guys, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, game 1. Only 11 other people, 5 second string on offense, 6 second string on defense, made a start. That's why you have success. 33 starts made. Now look at Bowling Green. 48 players made starts. That means the entire first string made starts. The entire second string made starts. And 5 third string players, or maybe more, had to make starts. So last year's number of starts is something that you have to look at to make adjustments. Spring practices. Again, that's this year only, obviously. But here's a couple big variances. Central Michigan 10, Ohio 2. Buffalo had 9. They're playing Illinois, Northern Illinois that had 3. And Western Michigan had 8. Akron had 0 as we talk. Head coaches. How long have they been there? Well, I'll tell you what, the MAC has no new head coaches.
So you're not going to get advantage with people putting in new schemes. So what do I look for? The more experienced quarterback with an established system with a head coach that's been there for multiple years. So when I give everyone a 1 through 12, it allows me to grade those teams and go from top to bottom. Then you see that's on the right-hand side. That's where the MAC coaches voted this year and picked their teams. So when I give 1 through 12, the lowest score is the best score, obviously. Miami, Ohio comes out as my number 1 team. Buffalo, number 2. Central Michigan, 3. Kent State, 4. Ohio, 5. Toledo, 6. But here's where you make adjustments. We know Toledo, because of their recruiting, because they didn't have a quarterback, they're down a little bit. But they have such an established system with so many good recruits. They're so far high, they obviously would be higher. But the teams that I find value, I think you're going to find value with Central Michigan. Why? They were only picked number 3 in the West. I have them as my number 1 West team with 10 spring practices. Ball State, I think you're going to find some value in Ball State because they have. And underrated or the most overrated team, I believe Western Michigan. We talked about them. They are second last in experience, third last in starters. They don't have a quarterback back. They are number 2 in the West as far as the coaches poll, but I have them further down than that. So, that's the way I start my power ratings when I look at conference by conference.
Ralph, that was awesome. Great stuff, man. We can't thank you enough all the time for joining us. I want to shout out to Marco. Thank you for joining us. As you can hear, my voice is still not right. And Teddy, all because I'm betting Tampa Bay to win every quarter at plus 550. I'll tell you as a fact, Tampa Bay is not the play I have released to my clients. I just find there a lot of value on that. Guys, big show tomorrow. Steve Merrill, Dave Sharapan, and Wednesday, Kelly Stewart, Arthur DeCesar. Thursday, the big guns, Dave Koken and Gianni. And Friday, Rob Vino and Matt Joseph. Every day, we get the pen, Ralph Michaels. Thank you all for being with us. Teddy, take us home, baby.
I just want to ask, Ralph, anything you got to promote for tonight or this week?
No, remember, guys, $9 Monday, great lineup. Make sure you get your favorite plays before midnight. I know there's some 5%ers for this weekend. Wager Talk and Sports Memo.
So, on that note, enjoy the games. Good luck tonight. We'll be back again in 23 hours right here on Wager Talk Today.
The Wager Talk and Sports Memo November Thank You Special is a deal you guys cannot pass up. Get every college football and NFL play in the month of November for just $1.99. That includes 5 NFL Sundays and 4 college football Saturdays. Sign up now and you get the rest of October for free. That means 5 full weekends of football for under $40 per weekend, 5 weekends for less than the price of a 5% play per week. Just go to your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo Cappers homepage to lock in this offer before the games kick off this weekend.